All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Thursday, my friends, July 10th, 2025. Racing through the month of July now. It's a third over. My goodness. It's already a third over, Carl. It's like it just got started. It's a third over. Man, oh, man, oh, man. But that's okay. You know why? Because y'all are here, right now, for some free mortgage coaching. And you know what? Why not? The good news is we do have Fred Currier in the house. Fred, what's going on, brother? Fred and I had some conversations the other day, man. Got to hang out with each other a little bit. You know, have you ever hung out and just shot the breeze with Fred Curry, Carl? If not, you should do it.
Of course, I'm hung out with everybody. Yeah. Cool, but hang out with Fred Curry, man.
Yeah. He's a good dude, man.
Hey, but did you hear the breaking news?
Hold on. Breaking news. Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. What?
Breaking news.
What?
So first of all, Owen has some breaking news, and I've got some breaking news too. So okay, breaking news: we no longer have to take our shoes off.
Yes.
At TSA. Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
I've been little thing, but kind of a big deal.
Hey, little thing, dude. That cold floor on my naked feet.
Yeah,
it's just not pretty. Right?
Oh my God.
I'm going to give you this. I don't know what to do with that. No, but I tell you, it's not. It's what the hassle of it is just everybody doing it and getting all befuddled and jamming up the line and all that is just such a drag.
Yeah. So it's I thought that was really cool. I've been TSA pre-check for a long time, and sometimes the TSA pre-check line is longer than the regular line these days as more and more people are doing it. And we don't have that. What's that Clear? That third party service.
Yeah, I have Clear. I do Clear.
Can you believe Tampa Airport does not have
No,
Clear?
I cannot. And that has been frustrating on more than one occasion.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. No more taking off our shoes. So
well, that's cool. But it's not as cool as the glasses that Gen Z is wearing today.
Well,
okay, those are super cool, in fact. And if we're going to go down the line, we certainly have to, make note of Krista as well.
Yes.
Okay, we have to make note of those glasses. And, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, but I think mine are quite stylish.
They are.
As well. I don't think I can spotlight myself. I guess I can't, but it's all right. Huh? Clark Kent. That's what you said, right, Kevin? Yeah. So, all right. But of course, there you go. Thank you for whoever's doing that. Yeah. See, so we got the memo, man. We got the memo on what to do here. Kristen Simpson, of course, did not get the memo, but just got a spotlighter.
Who would want to hide those eyes?
There you go.
Would want to hide those eyes.
That's something to say. And I would never. Oh, I'm sorry, Kristen. That was not that. I swear that was an accident. That did not. That was not on purpose at all. Oh, we got Owen Lee in the house. It's always fun to have Owen. Hey, break give a cheer. Owen Lee. Got him in the house. Yeah, and Carl said he has some breaking news as well, so that's going to be fun to listen. I hope it's really good because Carl.
I was just looking over the slides because he sent them to me last night, and I was looking over them, and there's slide number 3. So he's holding it for the end. Has some
breaking news.
Pretty impressive breaking news here.
Nice. Okay, good. We're looking forward to that. But before we get there, Owen Lee, do us a favor. Just pick somebody to share a win. Just look around and see who's popping out at you.
I always like to grab somebody that's looking like, please don't call me. Please don't call me. Those are my favorites.
How about Sharon Walford?
Oh, good one. Sharon Wofford. Oh, we can always expect a good win out of Sharon. Sharon, all right. What do you got?
You probably saw us getting ready to put food in my mouth. I would say we've had an interesting win lately, and that's that, we've been reaching out to a lot of different agents and talking to them and just, they were listing agents become our buyers agents. But now these agents are starting to talk to each other. And what's really cool is that they're talking to each other, even though they're 50 miles away or they're, they're with different companies. But to have some agents sharing your successes and then helping sell you is insane because it's been able to get us, that kind of talk has been able to get us into realtors that haven't been doing any business with us. So now that they've got the validation from somebody else, now they're starting to send us a lot of business.
How are they talking to each other being a part? What do you mean? What
Well, it turns out they're friends. I mean, turns out we've got people, people they have a network too, just like we do, and they talk to each other and they're like, how'd you get that done? Well, hey, I'm using Sharon and this is what she did for me. And like, hey, I could use that. And now, I mean, that's happened in the last 2 weeks and I've probably gotten 5 or 6 referrals from the other person that I've never been able to get into.
That's cool. I mean, there does come a point when you're just so damn good.
That's a whole nother level.
Yeah, you're just so damn good that the word just gets around and people are like, I heard about you. I want you to do my deal. That's nice.
What I want.
Congratulations, Sharon.
Thank you.
You know what? And you know what? Good for those realtors to work with someone like you, right? I mean, come on. Victory fanfare for Sharon. I mean, geez. If I was a realtor, I'd want to work with Sharon.
Hey, Sharon, I got a question for you.
Sure.
So it's no secret you do extremely well. I don't know what top percent it'd be, but probably 1%, 2% in the nation, somewhere around there. What's your major hook? Like, what's the thing that ropes them in? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your attractor?
I think it's, I mean, not to just be cliche, but I think it is our communication, and they know that they're going to get a straight answer from me, and they know that if I say no, the answer is no. So
yeah, but if you're working with a new agent and they don't know these things, like is most of your new agents that start referring to you listing agents as opposed to, is it like listing agents, or are you making presentations? Or are you just calling?
So, we make a lot of presentations and we get out there a lot. And sometimes that is just maybe falling on deaf ears and like, yeah, maybe I'll try her, maybe I'll try her. But then you've got to have some validation out there. So, we just try to have a relationship with everyone. So that person wants to work with us. And if that person wants to work with us and they've got somebody else that they know could benefit from working with us, then they're going to share that information.
So it's a primary way you get to start working with new agents is just reaching out to them and just start having conversations with them.
Mm-hmm. I do. And if I get a deal, like if I'm in another town or something, then I really spend a lot of time talking to that listing agent so that it spreads. So then we have little nests all over the state or all over the Southeast for, this information has blossomed because of that one deal.
So you're like a virus or something like that. Just
have a good time. Hey,
Kelly's from one host to the next.
Kelly's got a quick win too here before we get to Owen. What you got, Kelly?
Yeah.
Hey guys, I haven't said anything in a while. How you doing?
Good to see you. I see your chauffeur is taking you this morning. I see.
Y'all, I got in a car accident. They hit my baby twice, so she's totaled.
Oh no.
I'm trying to recover from her being gone, but yeah, she got totaled. So I know I gotta find another
You're
one,
okay, huh?
I am. I'm getting there.
Well, we're hoping that's not your win.
No, it's not the win. Not the win. The win was I had looked on my calendar, the Apple calendar one day, and saw that it was one of my realtor partners' birthday. We hadn't had a closing in like 2 years. So I called and wished her happy birthday, and she answers the phone. She's like, oh, hi, Kelly. You're a lender, aren't you? And I'm like, oh my God, here I am thinking that, of course she knows that. Yes, of course. But no, she out of sight, out of mind, right? So I call and wish her happy birthday. And she's like, I'm on the way traveling for my birthday. Thank you for your call, but I've got some referrals. I need someone that can handle these.
Oh my gosh.
She's given me 7 referrals and 5 have turned into applications. The other 2 are probably about to submit this week.
Wow.
What? Off of the happy birthday simple call? Like, thank you, Apple Calendar.
Wow.
That was easy.
And then but really what it came down to, Kelly's just picking up the phone, making the call, right? I mean,
picking up the phone because every time.
Yeah.
And you know what the problem that a lot of us fall into, and it's easy to do, right? It's super easy, is I can go on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok and I get my birthdays and I push a little button and it sends this little electronic like cake
balloons or whatever
confetti stuff. And I'm just telling you, that is so lame. Like you just can't, like when that, like 15 years ago, that was like, oh, that was kind of cool, but it's not cool. Like you gotta pick up the phone and have an actual conversation with somebody.
If you're looking to impact, for sure. Yeah. Otherwise,
and she and I are connected by social media too. So I was shocked when she was like, "Oh, hi Kelly, you're a lender, aren't you?" Because I came up in her phone with, she sees my whole contact card when it rings up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we've had closings together. Like, I know it was 2021, our best year, but how do you not know who I am? Like,
Wow.
The nerve
so
of
yeah,
her.
guys,
Just
people don't
just
think
goes to
what we
show
think.
you.
They're not thinking what we think that they
That's
think.
right.
So
Yeah,
call
that's
them,
right.
call them all,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
out of
stuff.
sight, out of mind. They don't know. So we got to stay in front of them. So that was a
Wonderful.
very easy birthday call that turned into 7 referrals. Sorry, 5 applications, 7 referrals.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to
So
focus
now,
on
Kelly, you're
these
scouring
operations.
Facebook for birthdays at this
Oh my
point.
God. I'm going to definitely check my Apple phone much better on birthdays.
Hey, you know what? I'll share with you just real quick. I know we got to get to Owen.
Yeah.
A loan officer shared, Brad, loan officer, his name is Brad, shared with me just a fantastic idea about 10 years ago. He said what he does is when it's their birthday, he literally sends them a cake. You can get a cake at their local grocery store for like $10. Doesn't have to be a big cake, just a little small cake. And he'd send it 3 days early. And he put a little note in there. It said something like, "I know this is 3 days early, but that's what you can expect from me on your mortgage. On your yeah." It's like we're always 3 days early. We're always 3 days early, and isn't that a great idea?
That is good. Brian Hindman was like going, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
That's a great idea.
That is a good one. Good stuff. Hey, let's get to Brad real quick, and then we'll get to Owen.
I know we got to get to Owen, but I want to ask Sharon a real quick question, if it's okay. So, Sharon, we all know that you're very successful, and of course, congratulations on that. But when you always talk about a we. So, how many people do you have on your team, and what are they doing, and who does what? And I don't want to take a whole lot of time, but I know that it's not just you. You've got other help, right?
I do. My daughter works with me. She's been with me for about 10 years. And she also, I mean, she's very good at making presentations and getting out there and talking to people. And then we have an assistant here in the office, and we have a processor.
So your daughter is the one who probably, along with you, gets out there and hustles for the new business.
She does. And
She must make calls and stuff too.
she does. She has realtors that she deals with. And sometimes she lets me speak at presentations.
There you go. Thanks. Thanks. And you're in an area it's a good area, right? I think you're in South Carolina. Is that right?
No, we're in North Georgia, rural North Georgia, kind of.
Okay. All
There's
right.
like
Small
2
area.
stoplights in her town or something like
Yeah.
that, right? So it's just Sharon is very consistent. I've been watching Sharon for years, and I just have to say she's very consistent. She plugs in and she just continues to work on things. As you keep going through your pipeline and as your business grows and as you start to get more referrals in the door, there's going to be things that pop up, and then you have to take a look at that and you have to fix that and you continue to refine. So
But
Sharon,
Brad,
But
I
it's
think
true.
another-
I've noticed that all of the real successful people here do have other help. And I mean, we've all talked about how many deals do you have to have before you can afford the extra help and all that. But I just wanted to see what you said, because you always do mention it like we. It's always a we that you're talking about. You never say I do this or anything like that. So
Yeah.
congratulations, Sharon.
If you're getting value from this already, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps more loan officers find content that actually makes a difference. And hey, if staying ahead of the market and learning what's really working in our industry matters to you, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. We read every comment, so drop your thoughts down below. We'd love to hear from you and know what's working or what you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you here next time. Awesome
Well,
stuff.
I think the other thing is that you have to really like what you do, and we have fun doing what we do. And it shows, and people gravitate towards that, I think.
Mm-hmm. And the whiskey don't hurt.
Yeah.
All right, let's get going. It's time for the mortgage market update.
Wow, the whiskey don't hurt. How about that? I love it. I love it.
All right.
Hey, just a couple of things before we get going with slides. Sharon is awesome, and her daughter is her secret weapon, and she's excellent. And the other thing, I just got to say congrats to Kelly and call out what she did again. And I think it's an important point when you're prospecting is, 90% of the people think about themselves 90% of the time. And that's just the truth of it, right? And so we go around thinking that this person that we did a deal with 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago remembers us, and they don't. because they're thinking about themselves 90% of the time. And that's not like an indictment. We're all kind of that way, right? We live in our own world. We have our own pressures. We have our own to-do list. But congrats to Kelly. I mean, we need more of that. Just a simple phone call and a win. You know, it's not hard when you pick this up on a regular basis. This takes a lot of discipline, but it's not necessarily hard. And we get rewarded greatly for it. So way to go, Kelly. I would just say this, Jen, if we could throw up the first slide. We're just going to take a look at the market for a quick second. And then we'll get to some other news, as Carl teased before. But this is just our simple chart showing really the way that the market is kind of meandering, for lack of a better phrase. This was yesterday afternoon. This is a 1 month chart. So remember, these charts are inverse. A rising line means a lower interest rate. So you get the rising line means interest rates are going like this. So we're largely in a better position than we've been in a while. We're getting close, but, you know, we're just bouncing around in that same vicinity. And every time we get to the top end of the year where we were, like the first year of April, when things kind of got a little hot, we take a step back. That happened recently, you know, about 5 or 6 days ago. We just passed that point where we were in early April, literally for 4 or 5 hours. And then our friend Jerome Powell, and this is not a political statement, but almost every time that man speaks, the market goes down. And it's just his job right now. It's just, this is not, again, political statement. It's not commentary. It's just what happens. He gets on there and he tells us all the reasons why the Fed shouldn't be cutting right now, and that kind of reinforces it, and then we get a drop. So that will have a shelf life, just like we talked about. We've still got some tariff uncertainty, tariffs back in the news, Brazil, and, you know, whatever. So we're just meandering in this group. Jen, if you can go to the next slide for a second. Here's a larger view of the chart with more dates in it. You can see that high water mark about the first. Look at how much we went down the first 2 weeks in April. The market kind of got spooked. We had that Liberation Day with tariffs and whatnot. That was not great for the market. But every time it goes down, it bounces back. We're almost there again. This chart is actually in what's called ticks. So that's not actual basis points on the side. Ticks is 3 basis points. So the difference between like 101.12 and 101.16 is actually 12 basis points on this chart, not 4, which is a little kind of secondary idiosyncrasy. But you can see we're getting close, right? We're in a better spot than where we've been most of the last 4 months. And if we can get past this tariff thing and we get towards the first September cut, probably in September, I think the back half of the year has a really good chance to be good. So we got to have our feet in the starting blocks, like we've already talked about so many times this year, right? This is a series of sprints. And if we get a sprint going in August, you know, the market will improve a little bit about 4 to 6 weeks before they think they're going to get that first cut. If you want to take advantage of that, you got to get on your prospecting right now. You got to do some of the things that Kelly does and some of the things that Sharon does. Get out and talk to people, and you will have an opportunity for even greater victory. So that will be great. So let's get to the news a little bit. Our friend Bill Pulte. I don't know how many of you are on some big news made this week. 2 days ago, this was tweeted. I don't know how many of you are on X or Twitter or LinkedIn, but Bill Pulte, the director, now remember, he's the director of the FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Authority, heavily lobbied by the NBA. I've met Bill Pulte personally 3 times. He is a prolific tweeter. And again, not a political statement, but if you look at his tweets, he's playing to an audience of one, and that one is President Trump. And he's not a fan of Jerome Powell. Bill Pulte tweets like 2, 3, 4 times a day, so you always know what he's thinking. But 2 days ago, he put out this tweet that kind of had the market, not the financial market, but the mortgage market in general, writ large, in a tizzy. He said, effective today to increase competition in the credit score ecosystem, consistent with President Trump's landslide mandate to lower costs, Fannie and Freddie will allow users the VantageScore 4.0 with no current requirement to build a new infrastructure stays tri-merge. So as we all know, credit costs have gone up somewhere between 400 and 700% over the past 3 years. There's no way that hasn't showed up in higher closing costs. It's huge. And the Washington, D.C., official regulatory class has finally kind of caught on to this. And, you have the credit bureaus who brag about it in their SEC filings, those reports that they file quarterly about their financial performance that all publicly traded companies have to file. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go read them. And so anyway, what does this do? Well, officially, in theory, we have a Vantage 4.0 score that is now eligible to be sold to Fannie and Freddie. The downside is nobody knows how this is going to work. And I'm not trying to be funny about that. But if you don't have a credit score, officially the AUS systems for Fannie and Freddie are not credit score driven, but the LLPAs and the pricing are credit score driven. So if you have a Vantage score, what's the corresponding LLPA sheet going to look like? We don't know. How do you run an AUS delivery and approval with a Vantage score? We don't know. How are the mortgage insurance companies going to price the Vantage score? We don't know. My strong suspicion is that you'll get FHA, VA, and rural development to come out with something similar to this, but we don't know. How are companies, so many IMBs and so many brokers who sell to correspondents, not directly to Fannie and Freddie, how are they going to price the Vantage score? Nobody knows. And of course, the biggest one of all, Vantage scores are, the Vantage score system is owned by 90% of the 3 credit bureaus. So how long is whatever the price for Vantage score is today going to remain the price for the Vantage score? So it is big news. Unfortunately, the big news leaves us with a lot more practical questions than answers. And like so many things in the mortgage industry, the devil is in the details, right? We run a relatively complicated system with a lot of regulatory corporate pricing overlays when you look at the life cycle of an actual mortgage. And it's been built on the credit score model for so long, it's going to take a little time to figure this out. But if you're a watcher of stocks, go to CNBC or Fox Business or Bloomberg or WallStreetJournal.com or whatever your favorite business site is, and take a look at how the FICO stock has performed this week. It's factual information. They were down about 2 days ago or I'm sorry, they were down about 8% 2 days ago when this tweet came out in a single day. And that stock FICO is not a stock that moves like that. It's not Tesla or Apple or Instagram, or I'm sorry, Facebook, that goes up and down 5%. So really, really interesting tweet. The devil is in the details, and we don't yet have the details. But official Washington has caught on to what's happening with the credit score, and the pricing of the credit score, more importantly. So we'll see what happens. But I posted on this on LinkedIn. I'm going to be following it very, very closely, mostly in my official capacity for the Mortgage Bankers Association. We put out a blog post that we're studying a single credit pull, which will instantly create more competition. So we'll see where it goes. But if you want to stay updated, take a look at my LinkedIn.
Cool. Hey, Owen, I got a question for you. So
Yes, sir.
on with Powell and lowering rates, I've seen a couple of articles this week recently that said the articles seem to indicate that he might be leaning toward a cut this month in July. And no, you're not seeing that anywhere. There was a couple of articles that brought that up. Yeah.
So my gut tells me September, not
Okay.
July. Just my gut. I don't know. I think you'd see the market moving a little bit more in our direction if they thought a July cut was cut, because the July meeting's in like 10 days or something, and then they take August off and then September.
Got it.
July's possible, but I think that September is more likely.
Okay. Another Powell question for you. It's
Yeah.
interesting because the Federal Reserve is, their stance, like you've mentioned, is always to not seem to be politically biased, right? So in their decision making, but at this point, it almost seems like it is politically biased. You know what I mean? It's like, it almost feels like I'm not going to do it just to spite you. It has that kind of feeling. It must be hard for them to walk that line because, at this point, it almost feels like they are being politically biased,
Well, this is just an observation, right? I'm not like an official Washington, D.C. watcher or anything, but I have been there 6 times this year already, so it's hard not to watch the stuff. You do wonder, and again, completely not political. Republicans buy houses, Democrats buy houses, independents buy houses. I'm for housing, but the Fed is fiercely protective of their view that they are independent and not beholden to any political party. So when the president or Bill Pulte or whatever tweets about their opinion about interest rates, in a sense, it makes it harder for the Fed to act because they have to make it look like they're not responding to those tweets. So it's, you wonder sometimes, and these are smart people. Like, obviously, the president's a smart person, love him or hate him. Bill Pulte is a smart person, love him or hate him. I mean, they have to be able to know that. So I think sometimes it causes some of the Fed governors to dig in and almost have an inclination to do the opposite, because if I will say this, if the market thought that the Fed was beholden to politics, interest rates would rise. And so that would not be good if the president put out a tweet and 48 hours later, Powell lowered interest rates. Unless the economic reports had overwhelming evidence that was the right thing to do. So I just wonder sometimes, I don't understand Washington, D.C. sometimes, and that is one of the times I don't understand.
Good stuff. Anybody else? Anything for Owen Lee? Now's the time. Now's the time to ask him.
So we can quote you that rates are going down in September. And
sure.
There was a
NBA
question,
president
Owen.
says guaranteed rates will drop.
I'm just like the weatherman. I got a 40% chance of being correct.
Yeah.
You
There you
know?
go. That's pretty good. Hey, just as a reminder, if you're enjoying Loan Officer Breakfast Club here on YouTube, you can catch our live shows. The live shows are really cool because there's oftentimes downloads and giveaways. It's really, really fun. To subscribe, you simply go to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. That's loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. Subscribe and join us on our live shows. They're 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Hope to see you there. Pretty good. Great stuff, man. Thank you, Owen. Man, it's always, hey, Josh has got his hand up. Go ahead, Josh. What do you got? You with us, Josh? I think I hear you back there kind of squawking around, but I can't really hear you that well.
While he tries to get straight, there was a
Yeah.
question in the chat. The VantageScore, is that what like Credit Karma and companies like that use?
I don't know how many of the companies are actually using VantageScore right now. To be honest, I don't really track what other industries use, other than there's been a lot of comparisons in Washington lately between automobile dealers and mortgage people. But as far as the consumer credit companies, I honestly don't know if Credit Karma is using Vantage. They may be. There's a lot of claims about the VantageScore, about how it, picks up rental payments and has a more humane way of treating medical debt. And I think if that's possible, but I think we need to really use it for a couple of years before we know those things for sure.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
And
Again,
yes, Vantage is 90% owned by the existing credit bureaus. So I just saw that in the chat real quick.
Yeah, that's an interesting little twist there. So, all right. Well,
Yeah.
Owen, hey, man, thanks
Wait a
so
minute.
much.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Wait a minute. That means that, like, I don't know. And I'm trying to think of another example, but this is what popped in my head. That means that Marlboro cigarettes and I don't know, Marlboro 100s, they're positioning like they're competing. Like, hey, when you buy these, it's going to drive the price down, but it's owned by the same company. What?
Yeah.
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 Welcome to the magic of Washington, my friend.
Wow.
How do you access the Vantage score? How do you
have
access?
to get set up. Your company has to get set up with it. Just like the bureaus. But there's the tweet was great, but there's no practical way to use it tomorrow.
Well, wait, even if you could, does that really, if they're owned by the same companies, they're not going to compete against themselves. I mean, that's right.
Well, I think so. This is about breaking the oligopoly, right? Carl, we made this point in a podcast a couple of weeks ago. This is like the Russian gas company, right? You can't close a loan in America without a tri-merge right now, practically speaking. There might be a pilot program here or there.
Yeah, I get it.
Somebody who's putting it on their boat, but 98% of all the loans require a tri-merge. So you move to something else, VantageScore. Okay, well, how long? This is about cost too. The increasing cost. How many of us have closed a loan in the last 6 to 12 months where the borrower was barely able to get to the closing table, and another $500 would have wiped the deal? Or how many borrowers have you had where if they had an extra $1,000, they could have closed? Right? Our company is 42% first-time home buyer. So that happens, 83% purchase, 42% first-time home buyer. That happens regularly with first-time home buyers. So the increasing cost of the credit bills is a serious impediment to a lot of buyers right now. And that does have Washington, D.C.'s attention. We go to the VantageScore, and over the next 24 months, the VantageScore price goes up 600%. Well, then all this is much ado about nothing. Except for the possibility of how the VantageScore supposedly more fairly judges folks that have been underrepresented by the credit bureaus, people that don't use a lot of credit, don't have a credit score, have medical debt. All those things I'm very optimistic about, but I really think we need to use the score for a couple of years and to find out if those things are true.
Hey, Owen, are you available right after this? Maybe we can go do a quick podcast, go a little deeper on this. You available?
Yeah, if we do a quick one. Yes, I am.
Yeah. All right. So as soon as we finish here, I'll meet you on my link.
Good
Okay.
stuff. Thank you, Owen Lee. Always a pleasure, my friend. You are awesome. We're so privileged to have you on every single week, man. It's really great. We can't.
It's my privilege to be here.
Well, hey, I just want to, Carl, just for fun in the chat, guys. I know we're at the top of the hour, but I mean, who here was in the business when there was no FICO score and you got your credit report, and then you could actually go in and talk to an underwriter about the situation with letters of explanation, right? And try and get a file approved, man. So let us know if you were a pre-FICO loan officer. Just curious.
I mean,
about
Frank,
that.
I mean, you were in business when it got reported on a stone tablet. Like, it's not really it's not really fair, So
Hey, bro. Hey, I was in the business.
Hey, Carl,
I remember.
Carl, I gotta ask, did Moses give Frank his first credit report?
There you go. The fun thing too is I remember we were like on our street, the mortgage company, the little brokerage I worked for, we were like one of the first companies to get a fax machine. And so other companies on the block would come to us. Can we fax this off your fax machine? Is it okay if somebody sends us a fax to your fax machine? That's how far back Frankie goes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's it. Yeah.
Hey, that thermal paper was expensive, brother.
It really was. It really was. It was annoying. But anyway, all right. Owen Lee, always a pleasure. Today's Thursday, guys. Today is our pre-approved and lookings, right? So hopefully you know what you're going to do there. If not, you need to jump on Call Stars. Gen Z, what's the best way for someone to get to Call Stars? If they've never been to Call Stars before, where should they go to learn about Call Stars?
Yeah, so they can go right to the website. If they're members, go right to the website. There's on the front page, there's a icon that says Call Stars. Click on
There you
that and
go.
register then.
Well, that's
If
easy.
you don't know what it is, dailysuccessplan.com probably.
DailySuccessPlan.com. That'll be great. All right. Terrific stuff. Any parting words, Carl White, before we get out of here and make things happen?
Hey, looking forward to the class today at 2:00.
Yeah.
We're going to do what we call the mid-year checkup, and we're going to be talking about the things that are working that we need to keep doing, the things that what are those things that we've been wanting to start that we need to start doing, and what are those things that we're doing that frankly not moving the needle we need to stop doing. So it's just an honest assessment. It's going to be more conversational today. So members, looking forward to seeing you on that. I think this will be very beneficial. And by the way, we're also going to talk about how do you take this not just in your work but at home.
Good one.
Yeah, because if things are challenging at home, they're challenging at work. I'm telling you that right now. It's all one bucket. We don't separate home from work. We're all one bucket. And so how do you take this home too? So cool.
Good stuff.
Looking
All
forward to
right. Excellent stuff. Thank you, everybody, for showing up at Loan Officer Breakfast Club. Do us a favor, invite your friends. Love to see them too. You guys have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow with Chris Johnstone. Who knows what he's going to tell us? He's going to freak us out as he always does.
I hate those
All
smart
right.
people.
I know. It's so smart.
They're so annoying.
Chris Johnstone always gives me hope that there's something cool, but always lets me know just how far behind I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, you guys
does it in a
have a
cool
great
way.
day. Yeah, in a cool way. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great day, everybody.